Story 1. My 29 male, soon-to-be ex-husband seems to feel entitled to another chance with me, 28 female. My husband and I have been together almost 8 years, married for 2.5 of those. Last May 2019, we separated seemingly overnight. He left me and our toddler and moved back to his hometown. There was never a solid reason given, just that he felt we should have never gotten married. In July, he changed his tune and wanted to be a family again. He was still at his job in his hometown, so I decided I would ride it out at my job in a different city for a couple of months to build my resume and then start looking for other jobs in his hometown. After 6 months of a brutal commute, taking care of our child during the week by myself, and driving to his hometown every weekend, interviewing, basically bending over backwards, I finally landed a great job in December. A week before I was to move into the new house we were buying together and start my new job, I found out he had been having an affair. He begged and pleaded for me to stay with him, said he'd break off all contact, and I foolishly agreed to give him another chance. 2 days later, while I was back in the different city and completing my last week of work at my old job, he unblocked her on everything and liked her pictures on Instagram. I was devastated. On top of that crap show, he kicked me out of the house we were supposed to move in together, and I had to find a new place to live 2 days before starting my new position. We had lived separately ever since. He has said and done so many hurtful things in this time period. He said so many times that he wants a divorce that I've lost count. Up until a month ago, he was still maintaining contact with her. I saw her car at his house, took pictures for the lawyers, etc., and he admitted he had been talking with her still. I stopped doing the pick me dance about a month ago and stopped reaching out to him besides contacting our child. Now he has suddenly changed his tune and is desperate to get me back and willing to do anything. He has unfollowed her on everything, unliked all her pictures, tell me not to give up on our family. I've moved on. I am not interested in pursuing another relationship with him. He's hurt me deeply, and I feel like I've been effed over by him so many times that I've lost count. How can I tell him there isn't a chance without sounding like a completely heartless person? I still want to be able to maintain a strong co-parenting relationship with him, so I am friendly to him, but he seems to take that as I want him back. I have relayed to him my feelings, but they fall on deaf ears. He says that he will never stop trying to get our family back together and does not want a divorce. I do. Does anyone have advice? Update. Well, turns out my gut instincts were right. The entire time he was begging for another chance and promising this time would be different, he was still sleeping with the affair partner and telling him he loved her and would do anything to make it work with her. It didn't even hurt me to find it out. I was that unsurprised. It just helped me stop feeling guilty. I divorced his butt. I thank the universe every day that he is no longer connected to me in a romantic way. It feels like an enormous weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Shortly after my original post, I met someone by chance at a wedding and fell in love. This person is everything my ex-husband was not. The kindness, compassion, and respect they show not just me, but to my daughter as well is like something from a dream. I never knew love could be so easy. To anyone in a loveless marriage reading this, leave. Do the hard thing, especially if they have a pattern of leaving, returning, cheating, etc. Lord knows I was terrified to cut the cord. At one point in time, I was actually starting to feel bad for the guy because he was begging me every single day for another chance. He tried to convince me that getting a divorce would ruin my future, our daughter's future, that she would come from a broken family. But it was the exact opposite. It was broken already, and I fixed it. Once I made up my mind that divorce was the best option, I absolutely thrived. I learned independence. I found how to be happy on my own. I found happiness in a partner. Life has never been so sweet. The bad crap makes the good crap so much better. Thank you for the support on my original post. It helped turn my graveyard into a garden. Too long didn't read. I divorced him and found true happiness. I normally skip the TLDRs on these days, but no, that one I liked. That was perfectly succinct, and I'm so happy to have been given the update on this one as well, because, yeah, folks, there are a lot of these relationships where they're just putting you through hell, and you keep giving them a chance because you love them. but there definitely comes a point where forgiving and trying to repair stuff has become a futile effort. And as hard as it might seem, moving on is the far superior choice. I know a lot of people like to throw around that thing like, well, love should be so easy and everything. No, there are going to be difficulties, I think, in even the best of relationships. But there's kind of a line for that. Like, they shouldn't be that difficult. They should be, just things that you can talk about and build off of and even grow from, That's what makes it easy. The fact that you can have those troubles, but actually work together to fix them and be stronger for it. Story 2. Treat all prank calls as though they're serious? Sure. Have fun making 180 extra large pizzas. I work in a major pizza delivery chain that has so far been unsuccessful in out-pizzaing the Hut. Our store is in a college town and everyone is bored as hell right now for obvious reasons. So we've gone from maybe 1 prank call a day to at least 3 to 5, which isn't much, but still really annoying with how much more business we've been getting, again, for obvious reasons. The worst part is how uncreative and low effort most of them are. At least 80% of them are, can I get a boneless pizza? Or is this the Krusty Krab? With the occasional insert GTA fast food order copy pasta here. This has been going on way too long, so I took up the habit of just hanging up whenever someone starts saying some stupid crap. The boss wasn't too happy about this, but didn't care enough to say anything until an incident where I hung up on someone who wanted that boneless pizza, and he called back peed because he actually wanted to order. So I get a stern talking to from the boss man, and he sends a message to the company's group chat app saying, I know we've been getting more prank calls than usual, but please don't follow in certain people's footsteps and just hang up on them. Take the calls as seriously as possible. If they order something we can't make, calmly explain it to them and offer them something we do actually sell. We want to try to make money off of them even if they're acting dumb. So the very next call is where the fun starts. Thank you for calling. What can I get you? I'm so hungry. Can I get an extra large pizza with triple everything topping? I'm sorry, ma'am. We can only go up to 1 extra and each topping. Okay, then. Can we get 20 extra larges of each meat y'all have? So like 20 pepperonis, 20 sausages, etc.? These people are obviously high as hell and giggling in the background the whole time. Sure, give me a sec to ring it all up. Okay, so that's 180 pizzas. The total will be $1,000. I don't remember the actual price, but close enough. And it'll take about 3 hours. Awesome, thanks. We'll pay with a check when we get here. Dial tone. So I place the order. Not 30 seconds later, I hear, what the actual F? From the boss, and he runs to the computer. How are they paying for this? He asked me. They said with a check. We do still take checks for orders over $200, right? They can't have been serious. Was this a prank call? Not sure, boss. You said to take all calls seriously. He then grumbles and picks up the phone and calls the customer, and all I hear is super loud laughter as he hangs up. Meanwhile, other employees have started actually making the ridiculous order, not noticing anything weird about it. So by the time the boss finishes the call and cancels the order on the computer, there are already 5 extra large pepperoni pizzas in the oven. So we got free dinner for everyone working that night, as well as another message in the group chat app simply saying, in regards to my last message, please use good judgment when taking orders. See? Was it that hard to just insert a small amount of nuance into your orders given down from on high? Seriously, bosses, just insert the idea of nuance. Just for a moment, comprehend that not every situation can be governed by a strict, 1 to 2 sentence order. Sometimes, maybe sometimes, when dealing with customers and employees, there might be just a little bit of gray area. There might be some worthwhile discussion. I don't know. That's just a thought from me, someone who's probably a better boss than you. Story 3. Ex-roommate tore up apartment and says she's not responsible for fees, so I canceled my phone plan under her name. I, 24 female, lived with my ex-roommate, 24 female, for 3 years, and it was great the first couple of years, but this past year has been a nightmare. In 2020, when she was moving in, she talked me out of putting her on the lease, and honestly, I should have said no to her moving in just for that bit. At the time, we were best friends, and I thought I could trust her. At the beginning of 2023, she went to some classes and met a guy there. They had a thing together, but there was a rule set in place stating you couldn't date within the class. They decided to date anyway on the down low, and then they got scared they were going to get caught, so they ended things a couple months into it. Fast forward to the time they both are graduating this class, the guy has a new girlfriend that attends. My ex-roommate is infuriated by this and kept saying he was doing it to get at her, when really, he just got a new girlfriend and she couldn't cope with that. Fast forward a little bit more, and my ex-roommate and this guy continued to hang out behind his girlfriend's back to the point where they were drinking together one night at a bar, and on the way home, he got pulled over and got a DUI. This is where it started to affect me, because she owed me rent right around this time this was going on, and instead of giving me rent, she spent $1,000 bailing him out so his girlfriend wouldn't find out. When I confronted her about not paying rent, she said I was just throwing her mistakes back in her face, and she never ended up paying me back for rent. Then she got in a wreck at some point and still owed quite a bit on her totaled car. She had gap insurance, but it was taking a while to go through. Instead of waiting, she decided to get another car payment before the insurance company paid off her other car, so she was paying on both cars and still struggling to pay me rent. I said something about that, and she complained about how she needs a car, and I suggested asking her dad to use his since her dad worked from home and uses her mom's car most of the time anyways. She got really mad over this and flipped out about how I think she's privileged or whatever. At some point while we were arguing, she suggested moving out, and I told her, okay, the lease is up in a few months. We can revisit this then and see if anything has changed. She liked that, so we stayed until the end of the lease, and then we both decided this wasn't working and to go separate ways. She told me she found an apartment in the same complex. She also kept asking to get a dog this past year, and I kept saying no because I didn't think she could afford it, and I wasn't going to pay for her to get a dog to tear the place up more. A couple days before her move-out date, she posted on her Snapchat story that she got a dog and didn't even tell me that she had this giant pit bull in the middle of our tiny apartment when I went to move some of my stuff out. That infuriated me because she really couldn't wait 2 more days or warn me about the dog. I told her what we all needed to replace to get my deposit back, to which she replied over and over again, "That's what the security deposit is for." Since she moved in, she ruined all of the blinds somehow, broke my bedroom window, breaking in a couple of times when she locked herself out, tore the kitchen floor and entry floor moving the dryer in, tore up the washroom door because it was in the way, poked several holes in the walls hanging things, and so much more. When she finally moved out, I went to clean the place up a bit and spent 4 hours alone cleaning trash out of her room and cleaning out the fridge that she left packed full of gross food. I also spent a whole day scrubbing the tub, which she left full of gunk, and scrubbing all of the other surfaces. I say she alone because it was getting so hard to live with her that I basically stayed with my boyfriend most of this past year. So, I was going to put all of this behind me and move on, but I got a bill in the mail from our old apartment for $1,776.08, and my security deposit covered $820, so I texted her yesterday and said, "They sent me a bill for $956.08. Are you able to send half?" To which she responded with a bunch of questions asking everything they charged us for, and I answered and sent pictures of the documents with receipts for everything. I knew in my gut she wasn't going to pay anything, but she straight up said, "Okay, so looking at what all the deposit covers looks like damages and cleaning expenses other than the vinyl repair, which was $520.86. I don't feel like I'm responsible for the utility fee or the carpet cleaning because that was on the lease as your responsibilities. You also told me you were going to get the carpets cleaned, so I'm willing to send half of $520.86 for the vinyl replacement. I don't feel like I'm responsible beyond that." Basically saying, screw you to me because her name wasn't on the lease. I also never told her I would get the carpets cleaned because I asked her to, and she said, "That's what the security deposit's for." She sent me $260, and that's it for all of this. She moved in after, and I was already living there, so that security deposit was mine alone, and it's very frustrating that she just straight up didn't care to ruin this whole friendship over this. So, after she sent that, I felt defeated, thinking I can't do anything about it until I remembered we have a phone plan together. So I looked up how much I owed on my phone, $400, and in the policy it says if you cancel, you're still responsible for any fees on the phone. So I called them and canceled it and made sure to already remove my card info and my autopay and told them to bill my ex-roommate for it. Since it was under her name and she doesn't care, why should I? And that ensures that she can't contact me anymore either. It takes a special kind of selfishness to be roommates and friends with someone for years and then just kind of say, screw them because, you've started not getting along and you're like, you know what? Legally, since they're the one on the lease, I don't have to pay any of this stuff. I can just get away with not having to do it. So I'm going to find a way to just be a bad person because it's literally just making excuses to be a bad person. How do these folks justify this to themselves and be like, no, I'm in the right here. I'm in the right to not help with messes and stuff that I caused. And since I wasn't on the lease, I think morally I don't have to pay for any of this stuff, right? Either these people are so morally bankrupt that they don't realize this is wrong, or they do realize it's wrong, and they've just accepted being kind of scuzzy people. And I don't know which of those I hate more. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.